And so going forward with the next generation, I want to make sure that our youth, that our children are being taught the skills that come with entrepreneurship, whether they choose to be entrepreneurs themselves or not. I think there's a lot that goes into being an entrepreneur and the mindset of an entrepreneur that is a really great life skills for our kids to have. Hey friends, and welcome to the Girl Means Business podcast. I'm your host, Kendra Swalls, a photographer and educator on a mission to help you find your passion, power, and purpose through entrepreneurship. So let's jump right into today's episode because this girl means business. Hey guys, and welcome back to another week here on the Girl Means Business podcast. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I hope you are having a wonderful week so far. I know that we are all kind of getting back to school mode, whatever that looks like for you. And I hope you are surviving whatever your current situation is this week. All right, so now we come to the part of the show where we have the call to action. And in the last 2 weeks, I've asked you to do two little things for me. One is to subscribe to this podcast so that you get notifications every time a new episode goes live. And to join us over on Facebook in our Facebook group. And guys, I'm loving getting to know y'all in the Facebook group, all the new faces, all the new connections. It's been so much fun seeing all over there. So today I'm going to ask you for one more thing, and that is to join my email list. Now, I'm not going to just ask for your email outright. I'm not that bold, but I would love to offer you something in exchange for your email address. I love email marketing. It's one of my favorite parts of marketing in my business, and I use it regularly. So I want to help you build and grow your own email marketing system. So I have a free download for you. It's the Email Marketing Starter Pack. This includes an Email Marketing 101 overview, a free Canva lead magnet template that is you just drag and drop your own information in and you're good to go. And then the icing on top of the cake, you get a 5 email welcome sequence template. Guys, this is 5 emails ready and done for you that you can start sending out to your email audience today. It will help your audience to feel invited into your circle, to help them get to know you a little bit better, and it's all done for you, and it's completely free. So to grab your email starter kit, all you have to do is click the link down below in the show notes and sign up. Simple as that. Now, that does mean you'll now be part of my email family, but I promise you're going to enjoy it. Each week, I'm going to send out reminders about the podcast as well as some really fun business tips. I promise it's the kind of emails that you're going to want to open. Now, when you do sign up for that free email marketing template kit, make sure that you move all emails from girlmeansbusinesspod@gmail.com into your primary tab. That way I don't end up in that dreaded spam folder. I don't like being there. Don't make me go there. All right, guys. So head to the show notes, grab your email marketing starter kit, and get started building an email marketing program within your business. Hey ladies, we are officially in back to school mode, and whether your kids are going back in person or doing remote learning from home this year, this school year is more stressful than any other we've seen, which is why I'm really excited to share with you the newest sponsor of the Girl Means Business podcast, Usual Wines. Usual Wines come in 6.3 ounce single serve bottles, which is perfect because sometimes you just want a quick glass of wine without having to open a whole bottle. Or maybe you're like me and you're the only one in your house who drinks wine, so you hate opening a full bottle only to end up pouring some of it down the drain when it doesn't get finished. But with Usual Wines, that's no longer a problem. Their wines are made from world-class AVAs like California's Napa, Sonoma, and Santa Barbara, and are made with minimal intervention, 0 sugar, and 0 additives, making them low-carb and a truly clean wine brand. And they're delicious. They have a red blend, a rosé, a sparkling white wine, and just in time for summer, they have a Brut Rosé in limited production. I ordered the Brut Rosé to drink by the pool, and let me tell you guys, it did not disappoint. It was so good. In fact, I am putting in an order today for more because I may have finished that one already. So while you're checking off school supplies for your kids, don't forget to check Wine for Mom off the list as well. Head to their website at usualwines.com and use the discount code GIRLMeansBiz for $8 off your first order and enjoy your first glass on me. Cheers to surviving the school year. And now back to today's episode. All right, ladies, today's episode is all about the kids. I figured since we're talking about back to school and the beginning of another school year with our kids starting off in not the usual setting for most of us, it would be a fun time to talk about raising entrepreneurial children. Now, this idea came to me a few weeks ago when one of my good friends reached out to me and said that her daughter was thinking about starting a new business, and she was curious to know how she should go about helping her daughter and encouraging her without trying to sort of take over her role as the person who was supposed to be running this business. And it got me really thinking about what it looks like and what it means to raise entrepreneurial children. So I started thinking back to my own personal childhood. And while my mom ran a business that was our family business that had been handed down to her from my grandfather and my great-grandfather, I never saw it as an entrepreneurial endeavor. It was never presented to me in that way. It was presented as this is a business and we're running this business, and it was a job, it was a career. And I was never taught how to have this entrepreneurial mindset about life and business and choosing a career path for myself. And I think a lot of us that were raised in this generation have that same education of where we were not taught to think outside the box. We were not taught to go for our dreams in big ways because, and I'm not trying to put generations into any kind of certain box here, but I really, speaking from my own personal experience, I think that our parents, the generation before us, saw it as a risk. They saw it as this big fear that if you were to walk out on this limb and try something new, that you were taking a huge gamble with your career and your family and your finances. And instead, they would try to guide us into choosing career paths that were the safe path. And I know for me growing up, that was teaching. And it was always not really pushed on me to be a teacher, but it was encouraged to pursue a career path that felt safe to them. And when I think about that, I feel pretty blessed that I was able to eventually go out on my own and start my own business and have these ideas and have these dreams and have my family support me in them. And I know there's a lot of people out there who don't have that support. And so going forward with the next generation, I want to make sure that our youth, that our children are being taught the skills that come with entrepreneurship, whether they choose to be entrepreneurs themselves or not. I think there's a lot that goes into being an entrepreneur and the mindset of an entrepreneur that is a really great life skills for our kids to have. And so that is what sort of sparked the idea behind this episode of looking at what are some things we can be doing right now, no matter how young or old your children are. What are some things we can be doing that will help to sort of create this environment where they feel comfortable to explore their ideas, they feel comfortable to try new things and to possibly create their own business. So I made a list of some of the things that I found through research and through just my own sort of experiences with my own children and talking to other people who have been doing things with their children. And so I want to share with you some of the things that I came up with. And the first thing that I found when I was searching for information on how to raise entrepreneurial children was this sentence, which I absolutely love. It says, entrepreneurial means confident, positive, creative, resourceful, and resilient. An entrepreneurial person is someone who is faced with a problem and works out the solution. Now, when I read that, I took away the entrepreneurial part and I just left behind these words: confident, positive, creative, resourceful, resilient, faced with a problem and works out a solution. And in my mind, the first thing I thought was, that's what I want my kids to be. Take away the entrepreneurial part. These are just good, positive traits I want my children to have. I want them to be faced with a problem and find a solution, not just look for who can I ask for help from. Where can I go to find the answer to this quickly? I want them to be problem solvers. I want them to be resourceful. I want them to know that they're going to fail and they have to get back up and try again, and that's okay. So even without the entrepreneurial part, I feel like that some of these skills are just life skills that these kids are going to benefit from having. So let's go into sort of the 6 things that I came up with I think are really helpful for creating an entrepreneurial spirit within your children. Number 1 is create an entrepreneurial mindset. And when I started kind of looking into what does that look like, I thought about my own kids, and I thought about how many times they have asked to come with me on a photo shoot, or they've asked to come to the studio with me when I'm out there working on a project, or they've asked to be a part of my business in some way. And my immediate response is usually, no, you can't do that. And I think that comes from a place of, it's just easier if I don't have them with me. It's faster if I can get things done quicker if they're not there with me. I don't get distracted. I don't have to worry about what they're doing. But I stopped and really thought about it. And I said to myself, if I want to foster this idea of entrepreneurship, I need to let them in on what it is that I do. And I've seen this a lot in the past few months since we've been quarantined and we've been home with the whole COVID situation, is that, they're having to be a part and they're having to see what I do on a daily basis. And they're realizing that this is not just me taking pictures for a living. It's me running a business, and they're getting to kind of have a peek into what it looks like to record a podcast, to do interviews, to set up a photo shoot, to edit images, to send emails, to have to schedule social media posts, to have to do marketing and have to do client management, all these different aspects of the business. And while I'm not having those discussions out loud with them, they are still seeing it. And so depending on the age of your kids and the type of business that you run, I highly recommend letting them in on your business, having conversations with them, letting them know, like, this is what I'm working on today. So instead of just saying, mom's got to get work done, say, I've got to schedule emails to go out to my audience so that they can stay connected. They know what's going on. I can share tips and advice with them. Or say, like, I have to schedule these social media posts so that I have this online presence and I stay front of mind with the people that are following me. Or I've got to go and, meet this client and have this conversation, or whatever the case might be. But instead of just saying you have to work, let them in on what that means. I think back again to my childhood, and I think back to the times that having conversations with friends and saying, well, what do your parents do? And we couldn't really describe what our parents did. We might have known the job title, but we didn't know what that meant. And even with some of my friends these days, like, I know what their job title is, but I don't always know what it is that they do because we don't talk about those things. And I think having those conversations and opening up those conversations to, what does your day look like? What does your job look like? What does it involve? What does it entail? These are dinner time conversations that are great to have with our kids. Instead of just saying, oh, my day was fine. When you say, go around the table, how was your day? Instead of saying my day was fine, say, my day was good. I got this done. I was able to finish this. I was a little frustrated because I couldn't get this finished, or this didn't work out the way I wanted it to. Being able to use the language around it, sharing the verbiage around it, sharing the in detail of what it is that you're doing. I mean, you don't have to give them every detail, but just letting them in on what goes on in your day-to-day world will help kind of prepare them and put them in the mindset of, this is what it looks like to be in business. This is what it looks like to run a business. This is what it looks like to follow your dreams. This is what it looks like to do this kind of job. So letting your kids in on that, letting them be a part of your business in whatever way fits their age and their abilities, I think is a great way to get started. Number 2 is have conversations with them about what they're interested in. A lot of times kids go to school and they have their things that they're supposed to learn. My oldest daughter's going into 3rd grade, and so she's going to be learning about different science, topics and history topics. And I can't remember exactly what you learn in 3rd grade, or I would probably have better answers to this, but very rarely do kids get asked, what do you want to learn more about? And I think just even asking that question of what do you want to learn about? Maybe your kid loves dinosaurs. Let them explore that. And maybe your kid really loves creative, fun socks. Let them learn about where they can find cool socks or how they're made or, whatever it is. Like, kids have such unique interest, and it may pan out to be nothing. They may dive into it for a day or two or a week or two and be, over it. Or you might be sparking an interest in them that will turn into something really big someday. You never know. And that's the beauty of working with kids, is that you never know what that moment is going to mean in the rest of their life, good or bad. You never know. And I remember being a teacher and being in the classroom and having these aha moments for these kids where I kind of call them light bulb moments, where you see that light bulb go on and you're like, oh, everything clicks for them. And realizing that it might seem so insignificant at the moment, but in the big scheme of things, that could have been the moment that things turned around for them. That could be the moment that things click for them. And so with our own children, if we open the door for them to say, I really want to learn more about this, and giving them the resources and the space to explore that on their own, or guiding them through that exploration, I think that could really be those moments where it seems insignificant now to go check out a book from a library or to pull up a website online or show them how to find something on the internet. But in the long run, this could be the beginning phases of something really, really incredible. All right, number 3 is to support them and let them learn and explore. It kind of goes along with what I just said before about talking to them about what they're interested in. Let them explore those interests. Most entrepreneurs don't take the safe or the normal route. And I think as parents, a lot of times, we get a little nervous when our kids want to do something that seems kind of crazy or that seems out of the box. And this is where we have this moment of, we can either support this or we can shoot them down. And I'll be the first to admit that sometimes I've been the first one to shoot them down. This summer, my daughter and our neighbors' kids, who are her same age, they wanted to have a popsicle stand. And we live in a neighborhood where there's not a ton of traffic, and there's definitely not foot traffic. We kind of live on acreage, so we're all spread out, but we're still in a neighborhood. And we said, I could have easily said, and I wanted to say at one point, like, guys, this probably isn't the best idea, but I let them run with it. And they really took off with it. I mean, they created a menu that they handed out to people when they walked up. They had days of the week and hours that they were going to be available. They went around and passed out flyers to all the neighbors that they knew, these are the days the popsicle stand is open. These are the flavors we have available. Each week they had a flavor of the week that was the new flavor for that week. And it was going to be a big surprise when you showed up to the stand. And I was impressed with what these 8-year-old kids were able to do. And had I said, no, this is not a good idea, then that would never have happened. So just giving them space to experiment, to explore, to try things on their own, even if it feels uncomfortable for us as adults, I think it's a good thing to let them explore, to let them figure some of these things out on their own. Now, another friend of mine came to me and she said that her daughter wanted to start a company selling tie-dye t-shirts. And she said, I want to encourage her, but I don't know if this is a really great idea. I don't know, if she's going to charge enough. And I said, well, here's what you need to do. Instead of telling her these things, tell her that you're going to have a business meeting and you need her to come to the meeting tomorrow morning prepared with the answers to these questions, and give her specific questions to answer. Like, 1, how much are your supplies going to cost? How much do you want to make per t-shirt? Who do you plan to sell to? How do you plan to have enough inventory? Where are you going to get the money to buy the t-shirts and the supplies that you need before you start selling them? And then when she comes to you with this information, you make it into a business meeting and you say, okay, let's look over your answers. Now, if your supplies cost $5 per shirt and you want to make $5 per shirt, how much do you need to sell your shirts for? And let her figure that out. And then work through these questions together. And I think that when I told her that, and I said, well, how did your daughter feel about this? She goes, oh my gosh, she absolutely loved it. And she was so excited. She came with her notebook and her laptop and her pencil, and she was ready, and she had the answers, and anything she couldn't find, we looked up together. And she was like, I feel so much better about her endeavors now that we've had these conversations. And so just remembering that kids are able to do way more than we probably give them credit for. I know more than I usually give my kids credit for sometimes. And so letting them explore, let them figure things out, but supporting them along the way and showing them what this needs to look like, but not doing the work for them and not taking that opportunity of doing the work away from them.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
If you've been listening to the Girl Means Business podcast for any amount of time, then you know my love of email marketing runs deep. Not only is it a great way to generate new leads, but it's one of the most effective methods for nurturing warm leads and turning them into sales. Now, over the years, I've tested several email platforms, and my favorite by far is Flowdesk. Not only do they make email marketing simple and easy, even for the technically challenged, but they have everything you need to create stunning emails, capture leads, make sales, and automate the entire process, giving you time back in your busy day. And the cherry on top is you're only charged one flat fee no matter how many subscribers you have. So while other platforms will increase your price when you go over your pricing tier limit, Flowdesk has no price increases or hidden fees. If you're ready to give Flowdesk a try, click the link below in the show notes to save 50% off your first year. Let Flowdesk help you design emails people will love. Click the link below and check it out. I have a feeling you're going to love it just as much as I do. All right, number 4 is teach them about money. This is a big one. And I think that this is a step that a lot of parents overlook when it comes to entrepreneurial mindsets with kids, is that, we give kids an allowance sometimes, or we'll just give them money for something that they want or need. But I think there's something really important about teaching them about money, about budgeting, about income, about expenses, about, wants and needs and goods and all these things. And going back to the example that I gave with my neighbor's daughter, teaching her about the fact that you can't just say, I'm going to sell this shirt for $5 if you don't know how much it cost you to make the shirt. Because if it costs you $5 to make the shirt and you sell it for $5, you're in business, but you're not making any money. Or if it costs you $7 to make the shirt and you sell it for $5, well, now you're losing money and you are spending money on this business, but not making money. And so just conversations like that, like I know that a lot of kids understand the idea of money, dollars and cents and things like that, but they don't always understand the idea of a budget. They don't understand the idea of income versus expense. They don't understand the idea of cost of doing business or the cost of goods. And so just finding a way to explain these things in their kid terms. When my daughter was doing the popsicle stand and they were charging 50 cents per popsicle, and I said, okay, well, let's look at this. If we buy a box of these popsicles and the box costs $3 and there's 12 popsicles in each box, how much is each popsicle costing you? And how much are you going to make? And that's your profit. They just see the money that comes into their jar as profit, but no, they have to buy the popsicles. They have to print, off the cards. They have to, whatever it is, they were making custom popsicles at one point. So they had to buy the molds, they had to buy the sticks and all that kind of stuff. And so there was a lot that went into it. And so I had to explain to her, this is what it's costing you to run this business, and this is what you're making. So really your profit is only this much. If you're spending $3 on popsicles and you're making $8, then your profit is really only $5. So just these little conversations, whatever level it needs to be on with the age level of your kids, I think are really great conversations to have, because it allows them to start thinking about things a little bit differently. And it allows them to appreciate and value the money they receive in their business way more than they would if it was just, this is the money you've earned. And everything else is kind of a behind the scenes, behind the curtain sort of thing. Pull the curtain back and let them understand how things work within a business financially. All right, number 5 is encourage them to read, listen to podcasts, and watch shows like Shark Tank. One of our favorite shows in our house is Shark Tank. I am obsessed with it. My kids love it. And I really love the episodes where they have all kidpreneurs on promoting, or sharing their businesses, because I think that's really fun for our kids to see that it's not just these adults that have started businesses, but there are kids who have great ideas as well. And so we've had conversations around entrepreneurship because of these episodes. So we'll watch Shark Tank, and one of the sharks will make a comment about something, and my daughter will go, "What does that mean?" And we'll have a conversation. We'll pause the show. We'll kind of talk about what it means, or they'll say, "Well, why didn't they invest in that one particular person?" And we'll kind of have a conversation around like, well, it wasn't a great business idea, or there was too much competition, or, they already had another company similar to that, or whatever the case was. It's a great way to start conversations. And then reading and listening to podcasts. I am obsessed with podcasts. Obviously, I have a podcast. I listen to them constantly, and my kids know that I listen to podcasts. And it didn't occur to me until really about 6 or 8 months ago that there are podcasts out there for kids. And they have some that are great for kids who want to learn about business, or who want to learn about taking an idea and running with it. And so I have a couple that I'm going to put down in the show notes for you. The first one is Raising Entrepreneurs Podcast. Now, this is a good one for parents and kids. Y'all can listen to it together. I think it's kind of more geared towards parents, but they do several interviews with kidpreneurs, and that would be really great for your kids to listen to. The second one is called Smash Boom. So this is a fun one where basically these people take two ideas and they kind of smash them together, and they come up with sort of a new idea. And it's a great podcast for kind of sparking creativity and getting kids to think outside of the box and look at things not just as they are, but what they could be. And so it's a really fun, and it's kind of sciencey. It's kind of brainstorm-like. It's a really fun podcast that your kids can listen to, and y'all can listen to together. And then the Dream Big podcast. This is one, I believe it's a mom and daughter that started this one, and they share about their experiences with entrepreneurship, with other kids that have started businesses, with the idea of just dreaming outside of what you think is possible. And it's inspirational. There are tons of stories that they share. It's just a really kind of feel good podcast that you can listen to that can also kind of spark some excitement in your kids about dreaming big and about taking risks and trying new things, and maybe not always succeeding, but at least you tried. All right. And then the last thing I want to mention, which would kind of be number 6, is I had a good friend of mine reach out to me this summer, and her kids had purchased this kidpreneur box. It's kidpreneurlife.com /busybox. I'm going to link it down in the show notes below. This is an opportunity for your kids to kind of be part of a subscription service where each month they are taught about an entrepreneurial aspect. And her kids did it over the summer, which was the perfect time to do it when they were home all the time. And they created their own soaps and bath bombs company together. The two sisters did it together. And it was really interesting to see them. The mom would post on Facebook, okay, this month we're learning about creating a brand, and we're talking about, coming up with a business name and coming up with a logo and coming up with like a tagline. And she would kind of ask, they were kind of sort of crowdsourcing for ideas for vote on which name you think we should use, or vote on which logo you like the best. And it was really fun to see her kids walking through this each month. And my kids get subscription services with KiwiCo, and they look forward to these boxes every single month. And they're usually art projects or science projects. And so I'm going to sign my oldest one up for this Kidpreneur box, because I think that she would really, really enjoy getting something each month that sort of builds on the previous month. So from what I understand of it, you start off with learning about what it means to start a business, and they go through kind of the different types of businesses that you could start, and then you choose one, or you choose your own idea, and then you use that throughout the rest of the program to learn about the finances, learn about the branding, learn about the marketing, learn about the products, sourcing, all those things on a kid level. It's really, really, really cool. So Those are 6 just kind of scratching the surface ideas of ways that you can be encouraging entrepreneurship with your kids. And I think that this is a conversation I would definitely love to continue on the show in future episodes, and maybe even interview some kids that are doing really amazing, great things. So if you know of somebody as a kidpreneur who has started a business, let me know. Send me a message, send me a DM over on Instagram or Facebook, or email me at girlmeansbusinesspod@gmail.com and let me know what they're doing. Get me their contact info. I think this could be really a fun series we could do where we really dive into how to encourage our kids to think entrepreneurially. Even if that's not their plan in life, you never know. These are all just skills. Like I said in the beginning, these are all skills that every kid should have anyway, even if they are working for somebody else. So that does it for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed this topic. I am really, really excited about this topic. I think it's going to be a really fun thing for us to carry on into future episodes. Let me know what you think in the comments below, or head over to Instagram, Facebook, go to the Girl Means Business Facebook group, and let's chat more about it. And again, if you have a kidpreneur that's doing something amazing, send it in. I want to share about it. I will shout out them on my social media accounts. I want to encourage that with as many kids as we can and get them excited about starting their own business ideas. So that wraps up this week's episode. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you are surviving back to school month, and I will see you back here next week, same time, same place.